parents! If your child behaves perfectly at school and then falls apart at home, this episode is for you. Welcome to From the Teacher's Desk. I'm a special education teacher who shares practical tips for parents and teachers of neurodiverse kids. And today we're going to talk about why your child melts down at home after behaving so wonderfully at school. Let's get started. Let's start by looking at what parents see. If your child is coming home and completely falling apart, you may think that you are doing something wrong, because the picture that you are seeing can be quite confusing. At school, you're hearing things like, "She had a really good day," or "He was really quiet in school." And then this same child walks in your door at the end of the school day and suddenly explodes. Shoes get kicked off, someone might say the wrong thing, look at them the wrong way, or the snack is the wrong snack. And all of a sudden, you have yelling, you have tears, you have hitting or complete shutdown. And because you are seeing the hardest part, it's easy to think, why only me? Why only at home? And why now? Let us shift this perspective a little bit and see what this may feel like for your child. Because home is usually the place where the nervous system can finally let go and have a break. At school, they may look fine on the outside, but on the inside, they are working much harder than anyone can ever realize. For many children, going to school isn't just about learning. It's about coping and managing with the noise, the lights, the touch, the classroom expectations, the endless instructions that they get, trying to be social and trying to fit in. So when they get home, this is when the system can finally let go. Not because home is the problem, but because home is where the pressure finally comes off and they finally feel safe. A lot of parents have not had this explained to them. So many tell themselves painful stories. Things like, maybe I'm too soft, or maybe my child is behaving this way with me because I have no authority. But what they don't realize is that this behavior is usually not disrespect, it's overload. And it's the crash at the end of a day that has cost your child more than we realize. And this doesn't make the behavior easier to handle, but it may change the question that's in your mind. And instead of asking, how can I change this bad behavior? You could ask, what burden has my child been carrying around all day, and how can I help them recover from it? Because a child that is already on the edge only needs a tiny little extra burden to push them over the edge. And many parents say, but it was only about a sandwich. It was never about that sandwich. It was the extra piece of burden that finally led to the collapse and led to your child losing it and having that meltdown. Now, when your perspective changes and when you see it as overload instead of disrespect, your response changes and you stop reasoning with your child the minute they come home from school, and you stop demanding explanations right away. Understanding the behavior is not the same as excusing the behavior. If your child is hitting, throwing things, or saying hurtful things, you don't have to pretend that it's okay. But you also don't have to start disciplining them within the first few minutes of the behavior. When your child is an overload, that is not the right time to teach them a new lesson. What they need are fewer words, a quieter tone, space to recover, and less pressure. And once they've recovered, that is the time to talk with them and find alternatives to the hurtful behavior that they have shown. You don't need a perfect after-school routine, but you do need a routine that is calm and predictable. And this could look like a quiet car ride home and maybe no questions for the first 10 to 15 minutes. So use less language, but be close to them if needed. And don't put pressure on them to start their homework right away. They need time to recover. The goal is not to make your child behave. The goal is to help the nervous system recover after a difficult school day. So get rid of the story that your child saves the worst for you. Your child may be saving the collapse for you because you are the safest place that they know. Thank you so much for joining me here from the Teacher's Desk. Next week, we'll be discussing homework struggles.